here. All right, go ahead and grab a block if you have it. All right, should be good here. This lighting isn't like the most ideal, but let's see what we can do. All right, yeah, go ahead and grab a block and you can sit up on top of it. And bring one shin in front of the other. So your right shin can land in front of the left. And so I say that often, and I've been kind of in my classes this week, like breaking it down a little bit more. So rather than like just crossing your ankles like this, and then you create a little bit of like tension here in the ankles and in the feet, I want you to bring your left heel a little closer towards you, if that feels okay. And then you'll just shift your weight a little bit closer towards the edge of the block. And then your right shin, just like bring it a little bit closer, but it lands right in front. So the reason why we do this instead of, that was a lot of lightning. You might see me jump a few times. So you'll take one shin in front of the other, so then you can naturally start to feel the pelvis tilt forward and then back. So rather than taking this and then it instantly puts you into rounding or tilting the pelvis backwards, right? Like almost like cat. You can then find a little more freedom to move a little bit more. The pelvis can move a little bit more in all different directions when we have this different sort of seat. Make sense? So you can start to take your knees nice and wide as your body permits. And then go ahead and bring your hands just to your knees and sit up nice and tall. Take a moment to just close your eyes. Maybe even shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and allow them to fall away. And so you'll hear me talk a lot in this class about the hips or the pelvis. So I want you to just think for a moment about the structure of the pelvis. So thinking about it as like a bowl, right? That has your hip points at the top, those bony points on either side. And then you have your tailbone behind you, your pubic bone in front of you. Thinking of that as the base of your bowl. So as you breathe in, I want you to send that, think about tipping that bowl forward first, then lifting the chest, and then maybe lifting the chin. If you really exaggerate that low curve in your low back, and then you'll tilt the pelvis back first. You might feel the belly engage a little more, and then you round your upper back towards the wall behind you and drop your chin towards your chest. Do that one more time. So rock the pelvis forward first. So letting it be the origin of your movement, lifting the chin. And then exhaling to tip it back, shoulders forward, and then drop your chin towards your chest. And then find your neutral in between the two. Take a deep breath in, sit up a little taller. And a long breath out. Can you land? And then just to keep it even, start to take your left shin. You're going to switch left shin in front of the right. So that one may feel more comfortable or might feel a little bit strange because we have a holding pattern of always taking one shin in front of the other. So this might be your favorite. For me, this is not. So then you might notice how your pelvis tilts to one side because of that holding pattern. I want you to try and find neutral and bring your hands to your knees. And then 2 rounds of that cat-cow-like motion. So start with the pelvis tilting forward, like you were to tilt that bowl forward. Lift your heart, lift your chin. And then take a deep breath out to start to tilt that bowl backwards. Then round the upper back and drop your chin towards your chest. One more like that with your own breath. Inhale, takes the pelvis forward, and then let your head come up last. And then exhale, tilt the pelvis back, shoulders forward, head drops forward. Come back to neutral. Sit up nice and tall. Take one big breath in, shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. And then an exhale to just let them soften and fall away. Let the sides of the neck lengthen. And keep your eyes closed and just take 3 calm breaths on your own, just natural breaths. Notice the inhale as it flows in. And the exhale as it pours out. And see if you can start to trace the line of your spine. So noticing the 3 curves that exist in your low back. Feel it curve the other way in between your shoulder blades, your mid-back. And then all the way to the back of your neck as it curves again the other direction to hold the weight of your head at the top. I want you to really think about the pelvis being the origin of how your spine moves in every single movement and every single shape that you take. So take one big breath in right here, fill all the way back up. You might even open your mouth, let out that audible sigh to land. And whenever you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. And with all of that awareness, I want you to come into hands and knees, tabletop pose. So your hands will land right underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips as always. And then thinking about that bowl. So now, of course, that line is through your spine, but your bowl is on the side, right? But it can still tilt forward and back or closer towards the ground and then away. So I want you to start to do that. Let that first movement be in the pelvis as you start to tip it down. So think pubic bone down, tailbone up, heart lifts, head lifts. And then the opposite, can you start to send your pubic bone forward first? Start there, dropping the tailbone, rounding the spine, and then dropping the head. So getting really, really slow and deliberate, articulate in those movements. So letting the pelvis direct how the spine will follow. That's how we build a little bit more strength in all of those muscles that surround that spinal column, and even in our hips. So then come back to neutral, your neutral, all 3 curves, thinking about the crown of your head reaching forward. Start to send your right leg straight back, hip height. I want it to float. Press back through your heel. Can you still maintain neutral? So don't let the hip point sink down like a back bend. I want you to still find neutral to engage the belly. Can you press the heel up a little bit higher without moving the pelvis at all? And then tuck your right toes onto the ground, press back through your right heel. There's that stretch that you might feel in the back of your lower leg. And if you want to change it up and find like a nice yummy spot, you can drive your heel over to the right a little and then to the left a little. And then press back, straight back through the heel. Spin your heel then over to the left and just reach your right hand up. Take a deep breath in. You'll reach up high. Now use your exhale to thread your right arm underneath your left ribs. Do that one more time. You'll lift back up, open through the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left ribs. Now take a big breath in to reach back up, maybe even look to your top hand. Reach the right hand back towards the back of your mat, like you were just reaching, creating a circle to bring your right hand back down to the ground. Right knee will drop. One round of cat-cow again. Let it be slow, deliberate. Start with the pelvis, then the heart follows, the head lifts. And then exhale to round. Same deal. Start with the hips, round through the upper back, drop the head. Start to sit back on your heels here and then graze the fingertips along your sides and bring them behind you and just lift your heart. So the other way here, you'll lift the heart a little higher, maybe lift the chin. Take one more big breath in to open through the heart. And then exhale to slowly bring yourself to neutral. Think about threading the ribs together. Now you'll keep that, reach the hands high, take a big breath in. And start to just step the right foot forward. So you're just coming into that lunge, nice and easy. Right hand to your left wrist, start to lean over to the right. So you feel the front of that left hip open up. And then you'll reach back up, split the hands. Bring them down to frame your right foot at the top of your mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, look forward as you inhale. And then exhale to step your left foot up to meet your right. You can widen the feet, soften through the knees, halfway lift, big breath in, lengthen. Big exhale to fold, think belly towards your thighs. Press through your feet, stand all the way up, rise, collect the palms together overhead. Use your exhale to just bring your hands to your heart center. So starting to match movement with breath. Start to reach your hands back up, grow a little bit taller. Use your exhale, soften the knees. Now think about hinging that bowl forward or tipping it forward in the hips. Then think belly towards your thighs. And then you get to round. Head is the last thing to lower. Now halfway lift, big breath in. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Your first plank. So stay here, take a full inhale. Soften through the knees, hips back and up, downward facing dog. First down dog. Maybe you shake the hips side to side. Maybe you pedal out the feet to get that added stretch in the back of the legs. Now take a breath in, you'll rise up to your toes. Use your entire exhale to drop your knees back down to the ground, tabletop pose. Lift of the heart, finding cow, breathe in. Press the ground away as you round and drop the head last, cat. Come back to neutral. Send your left leg back, let it float. Press back through the heel. Notice, are you back bending or are you using the core to keep all three curves in neutral right here? Can you lift the heel a little higher without tipping the pelvis? Then you tuck the left toes onto the ground. Spin back or press back first. Press back through that heel. Find the stretch on this side. Stay with it for a little bit. Breathe into it if you need to find a little movement or a rock of the heel side to side. And then come back to center. You'll press back one more inhale. And then you'll spin that heel over to the right. Pick the left arm up. Take a big breath in. And now as you exhale, you get to thread that left arm underneath your right ribs. Do that one more time. Lift it back up. Open up, and then exhale, you get to thread. Now you'll reach back up to the sky. You can even look to your left fingertips. Reach them back towards your left toes, and then complete that circle to bring your hand down to the ground, knee to the ground. Right away, sit back on your heels. Fingertips graze the ground behind you, and they find the earth. Lift your chest. Take a breath in. Maybe start to lift your feet. And then you'll sit back on your heels, rise up onto your knees, take that breath in to sit up a little taller. Use the exhale to just step the left foot forward. Nice and easy. Left hand to your right wrist, lean over to the left. And then you'll rise back up, split the hands, bring them down to frame your left foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your knee, look forward as you inhale. Step your right foot to meet your left. You get to forward fold at the top of your mat. Take your halfway lift, big breath in. Bigger exhale to fold, bow the chest. Stand all the way up. You'll rise for your inhale. Bring your hands to your heart center as you empty. Pause here. Take one full breath in. Maybe open your mouth. Ha. And then you'll rise back up. Grow a little bit taller. The gaze can even follow the fingertips. Now soften through the knees so you can tip the pelvis forward. As long of a spine you can keep to then fold forward and drop the head. Halfway lift, big breath in. Plant the hand, step back to plank pose. Nice and strong. Take one full round in. Big breath out. Soften through the knees. Hips back and up, downward facing dog. Soft knees, but shake your hips side to side. Pedal out the feet. And then we take one more wave here. You'll lift your right leg up and back. Big inhale. Start to bend your knee 90 degrees here. And I want you to slowly, keeping your shoulders square to the ground, just start to lift your right knee a little higher as you feel your pelvis tilt open. Maybe roll the right ankle around, wiggle the toes. Now square the pelvis off as you send that right leg back. Step your right foot to your right thumb. Drop the left knee down, sweep the arms high. Take a big breath in, rise up. Right hand to your left wrist, lean over to the right. Come back up, reach up. Hands come down, framing your right foot. Like you did before, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, look forward. Now it's standing split. Start to lift your left leg up. Now your hands can come to that block in front of you if you want a little bit of height. Bringing the earth up to your hands. And then feel that left hip open up for a moment. And then we want you to close it off as you soften through the right knee. Now, something fancy here. I want you to reach your heart forward, take a breath in. Bend your right knee and bend your left knee. I want you to tap your left knee behind your right. We call this Shiva squat. You probably don't want to do very many squats. We've only got one more like this. So send your left leg back, heart forward, and Shiva squat. Now I want you to stay here. Press through your right foot. Slowly start to bring your hands to your heart center. See if you can stand all the way up and bring that left knee with you. Squeeze it in towards your chest. Set the left foot down, mountain pose. Now roll out your right ankle. I'm sure you feel that right quad. So in order to stretch it, we also have to strengthen it. So roll it out and then set your right foot back down. Arms down along your sides, shrug your shoulders as you inhale. Open your mouth, clear it out. And you'll start to shift the weight into the right foot. I want you to pick that right knee up, hip height. Now, you know it, but I want you to do it slowly. So start to create the figure four by sending your right knee out. See if you can send your your right heel towards the left. So you're just like opening and externally rotating. Now you get to cross the ankle, send your seat back, heart forward. Now you get to stretch the outer hip a little more. Stay for a full breath in. A long breath out. Now you'll stand back up and hug that knee towards your chest. Set the right foot down. Now a little different, you're gonna send weight into the right foot, back into the right foot. Start to pick your left knee up, hip height. Now this time I want you to press your left heel forward. Reach your hands high. Feeling the left quads working, the left hip flexors working. Take one more breath in. Now you get to swing it back. Find a high lunge. So it might feel a little wobbly. Maybe take that front foot a little wider. Now, like you did before, I want you to bend that back knee so you can neutralize the pelvis. So rather than it tilting forward, I want you to find a little bit of neutral. Now, right hand to your left wrist, reach up. Lean over to the right. And then you'll rise back up, split the hands. Find warrior two to the back of your mat. Your left toes will turn back. Your left knee will bend. Once you're here, reverse your warrior. Left hand will rise. Find extended side angle, so your forearm to your thigh. Reach your right arm alongside your ear. Take one more breath in. Can you pull the foot, the fingertips apart? And then it's back to warrior two. Straighten the legs, parallel the feet as you reach the hands high. And then hinge at the hips here. Reach forward, forward, forward. Then soften the knees to fold and bow the head. Maybe bend one knee at a time, shifting the weight left to right. Maybe shaking out the head, yes and no. And then come to that flat back. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. See your right foot. I want you to frame it at the top of your mat. Low lunge. Now, something nice for the hips. So take your block. I want you to place it underneath your left hand, just for a moment. You'll drop that left knee down. Reach your right hand up. Take a big breath in. And then bring it to your right side. So we did this last week. I want you to turn your right toes out slightly. Start to drop your left hip a little bit towards that block. And then maybe even a little twist, looking to your right elbow. Take one more breath in. And then slowly start to lift your chest. I want you to, for a moment, turn your right toes forward. You're going to bring that block off to the side. Now, your left wrist, give it a little bit of love, like rinse it out in both directions. You're going to replant that left foot down, or left hand down rather, and then tuck your back toes and lift your knee up. Bring in a little bit more strength. Now, take your right hand inside the right foot. So for a moment, I want you to heel toe that right foot back halfway. Might feel totally crazy. And then you're going to turn your right toes out to the right. Yes. Now, like you were coming into side plank, but you're not. You're going to spin your back heel down to the pinky toe side edge of your foot, and then start to reach your right hand up to the sky. Totally crazy. Now, sink that left hip down, not all the way to the ground, but just let it hover. Soften your left elbow, and then reach your right hand towards the back of your mat. So you get that long, deep stretch in your left side. Now, pick your hips back up and reach your right hand forward. Your right toes come forward. Step back to plank. Now, bring your heels over to the right. I know it's a lot. And then find side plank. Reach your left hand up to the sky. Now, if you want a little bit more, maybe you thread that left arm underneath your right ribs. Do that one more time. Reach it back up. And then exhale to thread. Reach it back up. Plank pose. Soften your knees, hips back and up, downward facing dog. So down dog then feels like rest. So take a full breath in, fill all the way up. Maybe a sigh out. You empty and let it go. Now, right to the other side, left leg will rise. Bend the knee. Slowly start to just peel the hip open. So not the shoulders, just the hip. Roll the left ankle, wiggle the toes. And then you'll square the hips off, send that left leg behind you to step left foot to your left thumb. Right knee gets to drop. Now, a roll of the wrist as you reach the hands up to the sky. Take a moment there. Enjoy it. Take your wrists in both directions. It's a lot of work. And then it's your left hand to your right wrist. Lean over to the left. Let that feel good. Now you reach back up, a big breath in. Take your hands, framing your left foot here. You can keep your block handy nearby if you want it. Look forward as you tuck the back toes and lift the knee. Now it's your standing split. Doesn't have to be as high as that right leg can go. And also right away start to soften that left knee. If you want and it feels good, open the right hip up. And then close it off. Maybe hands come to that block for balance as you reach your heart forward. Take that breath in. Now it's that Shiva squat on the other side. Bend both knees, tap your right knee behind the left. Like you're in a tiny little ball. Do that one more time. Heart goes forward, but kick your right leg back. Keep reaching your chest forward and then snug that right knee underneath or behind that left knee. Keep your knees bent. Slowly bring your hands to your heart. Embrace a little wobble. It's a lot of work for that left leg. You'll stand up and hug the right knee to your chest. And then set the right foot down. Take a moment on 2 feet. Maybe then you shift the weight to the right foot. Just so you can start to roll that left ankle out a little bit more. And then you'll set that foot down. Palms face forward. Shrug your shoulders as you inhale. Open up your mouth, let out that sigh. And then start to pick your left knee up hip height. And like you did on the other side, I want you to start to make that figure 4, but do it slowly. So can you articulate the movement? Picking the left heel up a little as you rotate that hip out externally towards the left. Then it's that figure 4, like you're sitting in a chair. Sit back. Maybe hands come to your heart. You're here just for 3. Nice and easy. 2. Soften your face. It doesn't have to do work. Last one. And then you'll come up, hug that left knee in. Set the left foot down. Now you shift the weight to the left foot. Pick the right knee up, hip height. And then here you go. You can press that right heel forward. Reach the hands up to the sky. Take one big breath in. Feel that leg working for you, not against you. And then you'll swing it back. Soften both knees to land you in that high lunge. One and only here. So I want you to find neutral in the pelvis. Left hand to your right wrist. Reach up and then lean to the left. A little bit different of a stretch in the front of the hips. You'll rise up, reach up. Find warrior 2 to the back of your mat. Your right knee gets to bend. And then reverse your warrior, right hand will rise. One and only on this side, side angle, forearm to your thigh. Left arm over your ear. Take one big breath in. Back to warrior 2, you land. Straighten the legs, reach the arms high, parallel the feet. See if you can hinge the hips forward as you reach forward, forward, forward. Sides of the waist stay long, and then you fold. Find your halfway lift. And then maybe soften through the knees as you let the head drop. Maybe shake it, yes and no. Open and close your mouth a few times. If you're holding tension there, soften it. And then find that halfway lift. Your chest goes further forward. Frame your left foot. So all of this fun stuff is here for you. Maybe grab your block and bring it underneath your right hand. You're going to drop your right knee down. Turn your left toes out to 10. You can reach your left hand up. And then place it on your left knee. Now, if you have to wiggle walk that foot a little wider for more space in the hips, go for it. You might start to send that right hip down a little. If you want a little twist, it's looking to your left elbow. Stay, full round of breath in. Bigger breath out. You'll start to turn the left toes forward. You can ditch that block. Keep it close by. Now you'll start to tuck the back toes and lift that back knee up, bringing both hands inside the foot. Now I want you to heel toe that left foot about halfway back, the long side of your mat. Turn your left toes out to the left. Spin your right heel down like you were coming into side plank, but reach your left hand up to the sky. So it's like a modified side plank, different version. Now I want you to sink that right hip down, soften the right elbow, reach the left hand back. So nice, yummy stretch to the right side. You'll lift the hips back up, reach forward, find plank pose, step the left foot to meet the right. Now heels go over to the left, reach the right hand high. Take a big breath in, thread it underneath, right arm under. One more like that, reach back up. Exhale, you thread, reach back up, Plank pose. Soften your knees, hips back and up, downward facing dog. Take one big inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, clear it out. Rise up to your toes. This time it's child's pose. Knees can go wide. Big toes can touch. Forehead can find your mat. And you close your eyes. Pausing here. Maybe you even let your head rock side to side. If you want to give your shoulders a break, take your arms down along your sides. And start to reach your fingertips back forward. And then you'll just slowly shift your weight, hands and knees. A round of cat-cow, lifting your heart as you breathe in. Exhaling nice and easy, rounding through the spine as you empty. And then sit back on your heels. This time, interlace your fingers together, press your palms together, and then create that infinity symbol with your knuckles. Trace it. Nice and slow. You'll take one more breath in, reach that up and overhead. And exhale to take your arms down along your sides and just bring your seats to the ground. Swing your legs out in front of you and give them a little bit of a shake. Now keep that block nearby because right away I want you to sit up really tall. Make sure you have enough space behind you. And then you'll slowly, one vertebra at a time, keeping your heels on the ground, you'll slowly roll all the way to your back. And then once you're there, bend your knees. Keep them about hips width distance apart. Your toes will point forward. Now have that block handy because as you press down through your feet, I want you to lift your seats and slide that block on the lowest setting underneath your sacrum, right? So not quite that where your curve would be in your low back, but a little bit lower. So basically supporting your pelvis in space. So thinking of that as the center of your body. Now, especially after a week of sore legs, this should feel good. So you'll keep your left heel on the ground and just slowly start to bring your left knee closer up towards your chest. So as far as you want it to come, doesn't have to be far in. It can just be enough to just start to find a little bit of space. Now you can choose to stay here, but if you want a little bit more length across the front of the left hip, start to drag your left heel forward. Reach your left hand up and overhead. Point your left toes forward if you can to lengthen that line a little longer. Maybe reach your right heel up towards the sky, but not a requirement to just roll the ankle. Wiggle the toes. So you let gravity do a little bit of work here. One more breath in. Bend your right knee and let your right foot return. Now your right foot will stay on the ground. Slowly start to hug your left knee in with your left hand. You might stay here or drag your right heel forward and reach your right arm up and overhead. Think about pulling your right toes, your right fingertips apart. Maybe lengthen that left leg up to the sky. Doesn't even have to be straight. Just maybe roll the ankle one more time, wiggle the toes. And you'll bend that left knee, gently return that left foot to the ground. Your right foot comes to meet it. Reach both arms above your head here. Take one big breath in. Feel the front side of your body expand. Maybe open up your mouth. Oh, let it go. And if this feels good, you stay or press through your feet enough to lift your feet. Slide that block out from underneath you, and then heel toe your feet just a little bit wider, just a little. So then you can knock your knees together and feel your sacrum ground into the earth. Maybe hands come to your belly and you close your eyes. Take 3 of your own breaths right here. Just notice them. So the inhale, notice how it travels all the way in. And the exhale clears out. Once you've taken those 3 breaths, maybe split the knees a little wider and just let both knees drop over to the right. Maybe arms come like goalposts. You bring yourself back through center. Let both knees fall over to the left. Both knees back through center. And if it feels good, only if it feels good, hug your knees towards your armpits and maybe a little rock side to side to feel your low back press even more into the ground. Take one more big breath in right here. And then let your legs go long. Let your arms come down along your sides. Let your palms flip up towards the sky. And then close your eyes. Allow every muscle from your toes, maybe you take that scan of your legs, your pelvis, your belly, your chest and your arms. Your fingers, your neck, the back of your head and the features of your face. Let everything soften and relax. Allow your next breath to be just a little bit bigger. And can you start to send that breath a little more energy to your fingers, finding movement in your toes. Maybe a slow rock of the head, side to side. And just start to bend your knees and roll to the side of your choice, but pause there and keep your eyes heavy if you can. And you'll just slowly press yourself up, finding a seat. Bringing your hands together right in front of your heart, maybe start to bow your chin towards that space. And take a full breath in, fill all the way to the top. Open your mouth, clear it out. And take your thumb tips to the center of your forehead. And as always, a reminder to be kind to yourself, so you can share that kindness in your own way with others. Namaste.